49ers rush. Niners all day. Let's bring 6 home, baby. Let's go.
I love it, man.
It's time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is Sunday, baby. Sunday is for football, and I just am so thankful. This is the last Sunday. This is it. We've got 7 days, 2 today, and we get 49ers regular season football. And I mean, as much as I am against, prolonging the NFL season, like I get like the injuries and all those things, I'm so excited that there's 17 games. I love this 3 preseason games, 1 week off right now. Just let everybody chill. It takes all of the weight and pressure of injuries mounting and all those things during the preseason. No. We're going to have time to chill after the fact and take that time. For example, Trey Lance, right? Got that bone chip, came down on a helmet, whatever. He just gets to chill. He's not going to miss any practice time out there. In fact, they showed some clips of Trey Lance getting some workouts and going through all of the plays, but without a football. He is out there, and there's so much great news with what's going on right now. Again, I say this a lot of times, but I feel like a little kid, approaching Christmas. This is exciting. College football's back on. And sure enough, the ghost of Chip Kelly past showed up, beat LSU. And, I'm getting all these messages like, oh, Chip Kelly's like finally figured it out, all those things. And it just like brought me back. Like, remember where we were to help us understand where we are so that we could see where we're going. We have gone through a mess, man, of coaches and lack of coaches and poor coaches and front office, all those things. These are good times. Is it Super Bowl or bust? I don't believe so. But you want to win the Super Bowl every year. My thinking is, coach mindset, win the division, make it to the playoffs, move on from there, right? That's the idea. Now, we got a lot to talk about today. Got a couple key transactions that took place. We have built the practice squad, which, will be evolving for sure, but we're going to be going through some of that. I got a film cut up I want to show you guys. I want to talk a little bit about some giveaways coming up, and shout out to the Countdown crew showing up strong Sunday morning, man. I love it. Absolutely incredible. I want to say thank you to everybody. Remember, #CC. You do that in the first 90 seconds of any broadcast, and that gets you entered. And we've got a lot of giveaways. I think we did 4 giveaways last month. It's a new month, September. We're going to have to bring some more stuff up for sure. But before we get to that and all those things, let's go, baby. Let's talk about the newest additions for the 49ers. Both of them we know well of. When we initially set our 53-man roster, it's going to evolve because they decided to keep the 11 defensive linemen, which was great. I love that. But we knew Maurice Hurst with that high ankle sprain was immediately going to go to IR. And, one of the last person off my roster was the backup center, Jake Brendel, who played incredible during the preseason. I mean, he is legitimate, a backup center. I don't think they'd put him at guard. We haven't seen him play at guard. He's just going to be that center guy. And that's who they brought back. And so Jake Brendel comes back, which was awesome. I'm so glad he didn't get waived. Is he going to be the center of the future? I don't know if we want to go that far with Alex Mack being as old as he is. But you can't step back and say, all right, I can see a pathway here. I can see something to form there. So that's great news. He didn't get claimed. And then, of course, Kyle Shanahan can't help himself. We thought we got past this one. He brings back number 27. Good old Johnson. I love it. Back to the actual, the team, the 53-man roster as well. Now, to make room for those guys, Maurice Hurst, as we talk about, and probably the biggest surprise of the 53-man roster, that's cornerback Devontae Harris, who we haven't seen much of. He's had a hamstring, but he showed enough that the front, the coaching staff and everybody decided this is somebody we want to keep around at the expense of losing Jake Brindle, our backup center, at the expense of losing number 27, our kind of versatility umbrella, just in case, everybody gets hurt in the back end. He can kind of play it all. So Maurice Hurst, Devontae Harris moved to IR. Now it's short-term IR, okay? Important. Once you make that 53-man roster, so here moving forward, you have an unlimited amount of short-term IR. You don't have to designate anymore. That's not one of the things you have to do. They changed the rules. Thank God for that. Every single person that goes on IR from here on out can be brought back after 3 weeks, okay? Now, they could be on it longer, but you're allowed to bring them back at 3 weeks. And you also have to remember the PUP list, they're out 6 weeks. So, we've got some of those guys, Jeff Wilson Jr., things like that. Like, he can come back, but, we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. Yeah, Dante Johnson, he's a 49ers legend. Yeah, I mean, how many times has he been on the transaction wire for the 49ers, whether that's practice squad, cut, waived, released, brought back, all those things. And I'm all here for it. I think he's one of those guys that I won't be surprised when he gets into coaching. And, nothing negative against anything that he brings. I think that he stepped his game up considerably over, 2 years ago, whatever. I just went like nuts on him and refused to say his name because I didn't want to say anything bad about him. Last year, he played really well in the slot. So, you take that for what you want. Yeah, if you're going to direct hate, I'm with you, Tommy. You want to direct hate at anybody on this roster, which you shouldn't. These are our team. They wear our jersey. We support them, right? Faithful, we support the team. But it's Tom Compton. That's the one where it's like, really? Like, yeah, this is why he's there? So anyway, it's what it is. Terrell Rice, I want to say thank you. He said, here's your shout out to remind everyone how handsome you are as promised. Thank you. Good man. Good old T Rice. Yeah, we finished up our 49ers Super Fantasy draft. We had 60 teams, 6 divisions drafting. We had a little bit of turmoil. I'm making that right. If you're one of the people that didn't get in, trust me, I'm going to do you right. We'll get you in next year, I promise you. But yeah, we had 60 teams draft last night, which was a lot of fun. Excited to see that. Of course, I'm going to win. There's no doubt about that. It's easy. It's easy for me. Now, I do have a shout out that I would like to give. And this is to a very special young faithful, man, very far away, all the way up in Alaska. Callie, a young 49ers fan in Alaska. I just wanted to send some encouragement her way. One, she gets to go to her very first 49ers game this year. But also, she gets bugged every day for being a 49ers fan up in Alaska because there's a lot of Seahawks fans up there. And I just want to say, hey, next time that happens, Callie, you ask them how many Super Bowls has their team won, and just watch how quiet they get. 1, because they probably don't know. 2, because if they do know, you don't want to brag about that. And so I love the faithful. I really, really do. And, one of the things that we're doing with giveaways, which I'm going to brag real quick here, look at all these giveaways that have accumulated for our 49ers Rush road trip. We got all, and again, if you're just listening, I can't list them all. There's too many. I got 9 jerseys currently, still building. Got a bunch of pop culture little figurines and stuff. Got an autographed Joe Montana jersey, autographed Fred Warner jersey, thanks to Pristine Auction. Trey Lance, Trey Sermon, Warner, another Bosa, Roddy Lott, Jerry Rice, and Joe Montana. We're giving all this stuff away. And a couple of those jerseys that I got, they're youth jerseys. And the big reason why I wanted youth jerseys is, man, what better way to bring people into this fold, this positive community, the faithful then, faithful now. We're a different breed. we're not Detroit Lions fans or the Browns fans or whatever. We're different. We're the faithful. And so, again, I want to say I'm very, very encouraged to give all this stuff away. And I love doing that stuff because I think it bolsters the community and positivity. And who doesn't like to win something? That's all I'm saying. Now, let's talk some quarterbacks. Let's jump into this. And again, I still get this question probably about 4 to 5 times a day. And I don't want to put names on it. But here's the question. Should Trey Lance start week 1? Is Trey Lance going to start? How soon will Trey Lance start? Trey Lance. So here's, I almost sent out this video with like every single time I get this, but I'm going to let Kyle Shanahan answer it for me. And I feel the same way he feels almost to this point.
I mean, guess we'll have to see. I mean, I don't like playing this game, but everyone keeps asking me that question. I'm not just giving the answer just to satisfy the question. I think we got a pretty good idea, like I said, all along. I think our team does, and we're pretty good with it as long as I can keep surviving press conferences.
I love how salty he gets. So number one, Jimmy Garoppolo is the starting quarterback week 1 against the JV Detroit Lions. Really not worried about. Still the largest spread, according to Vegas, of any week 1 game. It's not going to be close. It's going to be pretty dirty. But things that you have to understand, and we always like to, and I think in the modern kind of sports talk world with, Skip Bayless's and Stephen A's and those, trash whatever people, they don't care about content or accuracy. They care about hot takes and clicks. And that's why I can't watch ESPN anymore. If they're not showing a college football or NFL game, I don't even touch that channel, which was my childhood, right? Like 13-year-old John Chapman would like beat the crap out of me for not watching. Like you had to watch Sports Center at least 3 times through every single episode just in case you missed something, right? That was my old mentality growing up. But what we have to do is like step back. This process is going to organically solve itself. One, we're going to see Trey Lance get snaps week 1. That has 100% been established, again, by the coach, by the preseason, by you look at the practices, you look at the preseason games, right? Week 3, where they're literally moving the quarterbacks in and out. I don't think they're going to do it as much as they did versus the Raiders those first 2 series, but Trey Lance is going to get snaps in pretty much every quarter of the game almost. Like, expect that. But I'm going to say probably like a 75-25 split goes towards Jimmy Garoppolo. He's the starting quarterback. And so, again, this organic transition that's going to take place. Either one, Jimmy balls out, and you just maintain that kind of 75-25 split, bring Trey in on a couple run plays, trick plays, whatever, allow him to learn that way. Or 2, Jimmy's going to get hurt, in which case, hey, Trey Lance, step in, it's your time to shine. Or 3, Jimmy G is not as good as you want him to be, which I know all the Jimmy G haters are like, of course he's not as good as we want him to be. That's why we drafted, Trey Lance in the first place, right? But again, let's step back. Let's listen to the words of this front office and coaching staff. They drafted Trey Lance because Jimmy G can't stay healthy, and they don't want that one injury to bankrupt their season again, as it has done so twice in the last 3 years. Hold them to their word. If they didn't believe this, you can cut Jimmy right now and save all that money, which I know a lot of you are like, do it, cut him. Not happening. So it's going to organically work itself out. And again, it is in the best interest of all parties involved, all of them, to just go out there and for Jimmy G to ball out. That helps every single person. Now, again, take a step back. Aren't you glad we don't have freaking Andy Dalton as our starter, with this rookie on the bench? Like, that's different, because I don't think anybody thinks Andy Dalton is a good enough quarterback to reach the Super Bowl, right? Like, Andy Dalton and Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think are on the same level. I mean, he might not be a lot better, but he's better nonetheless. So I'm excited about that. Here we go. Tommy, thank you for the gift. He says, Jared Goff getting sacked 5 times, 1 pick 6. That's actually a pretty realistic. The 5 sacks is pretty realistic. I think you're right. And, if you go back, I was really high on Penei Sewell, took a year off. The lowest rated offensive lineman on Pro Football Focus all the way through the preseason. Lowest. He has not caught on quick. And so you mean to tell me you're going to get Nick Bosa out there, Sampson out there, D Ford maybe out there, rotating against that rookie. I'm telling you right now, we know baby Giraffe Goff, he's not going to be escaping pressure very much. So now I will say this, Lions have a very good offensive line as a whole. But, man, that tackle situation, we're going to have to wait and see. Their strength is their interior and right tackle. Left tackle, if Penei Sewell can be what everybody thought he would be, then they have a top 3 offensive line in the NFL. That's the one strength of that team. But their strength is going against our strength, right? We kept 11 DTs, or 11 defensive linemen. Like, we're good there, man. And so, I'm excited about that. And, Raymond, I'm going to say this. He says, what's your key for this game? Man, I'm going to spend the next week developing. Again, if this is your first year with us, one, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate you guys joining us. We go live all year, 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. And, we do bonus episodes over on Patreon. So if you want more John Chapman content, you can get that. Just go patreon.com, 49ers Rush Podcast, join us there. But I'm going to do a full scouting report. I haven't done it yet, so I'm still working through the preseason film. So I just this morning recorded another 35-minute breakdown on the 49ers defense versus the Raiders, which was awesome. But let me say this. Talanoa Hufanga is better than I thought he was, and I thought he was freaking great. That guy just gets better every single game. He's going to be starting very, very soon. All that to say, Raymond, after this, now it's time for me, just like Kyle Shanahan has said, it's not time to start implementing your new game plan for the Lions until Monday. So they're not even, putting in packages or going over scout teams and stuff till Monday. So I'm going to follow that. Tomorrow I'm hoping to jump into some Lions film, and I'll be building that through the week, scheme and all that stuff, because you got always, new coaches, new defense, new offense, new personnel, all those things. So all my old Lions notes, I throw those away because Matt Patricia's never going to be a head coach again because he was absolute garbage. And they replaced him with another garbage head coach. So I'll be going through that. So we'll have a full episode, believe you me, Raymond, on nothing but game plan, keys, weaknesses, strengths, scheme, blitz tendencies, and all that stuff, because I got to go back through the coordinators, where they were before, and all that kind of stuff. So got to watch a lot of Saints, film and go through that stuff with what he did with the Saints offense, because that's kind of what he's wanting to implement. There in the defensive side as well. So a lot of stuff to look through there. But let's stay with these quarterbacks. And again, Trey Lance is playing. Okay, he's going to play. He's not starting. Jimmy's starting for the foreseeable future. But there was one play that kind of just, got me. You guys can see my rosy red cheek. Got me a little jolly, I guess I'll say. And this was Trey Lance's first live rep, even all through preseason training camp, whatever, against a live defense with Raheem Mostert, and it didn't disappoint. He's going to read 51, and so you leave him untouched. This is the 11 on 11 because you don't block him because Trey Lance is assigned this guy. So again, if he sinks, then you give it. If he posts up field, he keeps it and just goes right there, goes right where he is. You're vacating, you're leveraging this player. And so, again, he comes in. Raheem Mostert's plenty fast, gives you all you need to know. Look at that. I mean, it's just you do not belong on the field with number 31. Look at the speed, the lightning. Mostert looks bigger, and golly, there is speed, and then there's Mostert speed. The 2 fastest times in the NFL recorded by a ball carrier over the last 2 years. I mean, the dude, he's track speed. He is just track speed. And those feet just get going. I mean, it's normal time. And all these, 54, he's got a good pursuit angle. It ain't good enough. He barely gets the back end of them. Just like, he's different. He's different. I kind of like, I'm different. Yeah, I'm different right there. Breaking into my rap game, into my film breakdowns. But if you want to see that, head over to Patreon. That's why we're able to do all these giveaways and all that kind of stuff over there. But one of the things that I'll say, for Trey Lance to have a positive impact in this game, he doesn't have to do anything because the defense has to respect his running ability, and it causes linebackers to sit, to hesitate, to check the backside. You can't just open up your pursuit angles and get on your horse and run in pursuit of the ball. You can't do that. Backside in, guess what? You got to sit. Counter cutback reverse. Okay, Trey doesn't have it. Now go pursue. And that increases that backside A-gap cut, all those things. That's the big play in the Kyle Shanahan scheme. All because of Trey Lance's presence. Now, Trey Lance will run some, and that's huge as well. But just the fact that his mere presence on the field increases the run gaps for people like Mostert. And Trey Lance fashion, they asked him what it was like being on the field with Mostert, and it's so funny, man. 15-second sound clips. That's all he got. This one I think is 11 seconds. Here's Trey Lance on Mostert's speed.
I've seen it in practice for the last, since May. So it was a ton of fun. Obviously, he's a special guy and doesn't really look like he has to try that hard to run that fast, which is very fun. I'm glad he's on my team.
Just boom, boom, boom. Not only is Trey Lance fast with his feet, he's fast with his mouth too, because it's just all right. We're getting through this. Move on. Get through this. Move on. One of my kind of pet peeves as a coach is coaches that talk too damn much. And what I mean by that is we're practicing, and like I tell my coaches, like, quick phrases. Okay, we're not pausing practice to go into a lecture. No. Quick phrases so that we can get more reps. Quick. And so, like, you get some of these, like, especially the South back in Texas, right? Like, you get some of these good old boys that just, talk at, like, this slow pace and just whatever. It's like, no. Phrases, quick. Let's go. We got to get more reps. I think Trey Lance is going to be a pretty damn good coach if he wants to do that, but that's way down the line. Dan, he says, man, he froze number 51 so bad, he could have gotten 15 yards with either choice. Hand it off or keep it. He would have got the first no matter what. You're right. And this is another aspect of Trey Lance and all quarterbacks. When in doubt, hand it off. If you're not 95% sure that the read is to keep it, you hand it off every single time because you don't want your quarterback getting hit. And Trey Lance alluded to this later in that press conference. I don't have it pulled up right now. It takes a while to get the clips loaded in the system. But he basically said, like, I'm going to give it until they force me not to give it. And that's the mindset. If you don't know, hand it off every time. It has to be blatantly obvious for the quarterback in that zone read system to say, all right, we're going to keep it. So very excited. This is Kyle Shanahan. Again, I've said this. This is a brand new way to bring in a rookie quarterback. Nobody's done it before. And, I've gotten like emails and whatever, like, oh, you're overstating it. And, they did this with Lamar Jackson and all that stuff. Nobody's done this. Nobody has ever, if they do what they did versus the Raiders, where you're swapping your quarterbacks out every other play, nobody's done that. That's never happened. Will it be successful? Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, we want it to be. Sure as hell was successful in that preseason game. It's been pretty successful so far through training camp, but we'll see. Worst comes to worst, they'll have to kind of pull it. Anyway, here we go. Let's talk practice squad. And again, I've alluded to this a few times. The practice squad for the 49ers is the most valuable practice squad in the NFL. Not because they have better players, not because whatever else. It's because the Kyle Shanahan loyalty program is a real thing. You look at the people on our roster, and again, this is just off the top of my head right now. Number 27, Nick Mullins, Matt Breida, Ross Dwelly, Emmanuel Mosley. You can go on and on and on and on. Aziz. There's so many players on this 49ers roster since Kyle Shanahan has arrived that have come off the practice squad. It's huge. He utilizes it much more than any other coach in the NFL because, again, Kyle wants his guys. Kyle wants guys that have been in his system for a long time. It's very complex. And so he's never said this, but let me set this up this way. Madden attributes, whatever. Let's say he has a player that could be, an 80 overall player or a player that's a 76 overall player. If the 76 overall player has played for Kyle Shanahan before, he will take him every single time over this 80 overall player. Because Kyle Shanahan and his father was the same way. I could do whatever I want as long as they understand my system. It's my system. It's not so much the talent. Yeah, the talent matters. But whenever you get on these, bubble roster guys, these kind of, backup replacements, it's much more important that they understand the scheme and the responsibilities and they don't mess up. And if that happens, again, he's going to take a lesser guy that he knows. It's just what it is. So, real quick, Sudfeld, nobody claimed him. Can't believe Josh Rosen made an active roster and not Nate Sudfeld. But, this benefits the 49ers. Very glad to have him. Fullback Josh Hockett, love that. That way, if Kyle, if Juszczyk goes down, Ross Dwelly will step in a game. But if it's a long-term injury, then you'll sign Josh Hockett to the active roster. So it just gives you, again, it's a safety net approach, right? Hockett could step in and start right now, but you won't pull him up. And again, remember, you get to pull 2 practice players up every week, okay? You can't do it over and over again with the same person. I think each one gets called up twice, and that's all they're allowed to be called up before you have to sign them to the team. But Hockett's not going to get called up. He'll be one of the guys that just sits there, and the only way he'll get called up is if Juice goes down. Wide receivers, we kept 2 of them. River Craycraft, he's always back and forth. And Travis Benjamin. I think that this one is really, really important. And, I put this little note in my notes. Sorry, that was dumb. I think Travis Benjamin will be one of the first people called up for weeks 1. Because if everyone's healthy, I think you bring Travis Benjamin up and he will be your punt returner. Punt return is kind of weird because we don't have one person on the actual 53-man roster to return punts for the 49ers this preseason. Now, the depth chart's going to go something like this. Brandon Ayuk will be 1. Number 2, probably Mohamed Sanu. And then I think Travis Benjamin would be number 3. So I think they'd call something up. Like, again, our punt return since Kyle Shanahan has arrived, despite drafting people like Dante Pettis, Brandon Ayuk, whatever else, it's been trash. It's been among the worst in the NFL every single year, all 5 years since Kyle Shanahan's been here. So keep that in mind. And so, again, if you got to put Brandon Ayuk back there, I'm cool with it. Now, there's safe return, and then there's explosive return, right? If you're backed up and, they're punting where it could be a possible touchback situation, yeah, it's just a fair catch. Somebody safe return, you're not going to get much out of it. But if our defense is playing lights out and they're punting from their own 20, that's when Ayuk comes back there because now he's got some, he's going to have some space to do some work. So I think Travis Benjamin would be called up, and I would not be surprised if he's your starting punt returner coming off the practice squad. I really don't. And, if they go Travis Benjamin for 2 weeks, then I think it'd be River Craycraft up the next 2 weeks after that. So you're getting your punt returner, but you don't have to worry too much about all the other stuff going on there. Oh, man. Shot J, just want to say thank you, man. He said, felt like it interrupted the show again. Salute. Salute, brother. Really appreciate the gift. That is incredible. Always a big supporter. Really thankful. Really appreciate it. Tight end, Jordan Matthews, baby. He ain't going nowhere. Nobody wanted the wide receiver tight end convert. And I was pretty surprised Michael Pruitt didn't get this, but they gave it to Jordan Matthews instead. And then we kept 4 offensive linemen. Alfredo Gutierrez, which again, he doesn't count, part of the international exchange program. So he gets to stay with us because he cleared waivers. Does not count as a true practice squad player. So we basically had an extra guy there. Corbin Kafusi, Sinio Clemente, and then probably the most important one is Colton McKivitz. Now, everybody was upset, at least I was upset, about Tom Compton making the roster over Colton McKivitz just because youth and upside. You basically wrote off Colton McKivitz. But so did the rest of the NFL because he didn't get claimed. And I can't believe that. But I'm thankful for that. And so I expect him to be called up too. If you look at this practice squad or as the 53-man roster, you kept an extra defensive guy over offense. But I think that when you call your 2 players up, one of the 2 guys that have to be called up has to be O-line. And I think that's going to be Colton McKivitz, especially why Aaron Banks is hurt, because I think Aaron Banks is going to be inactive for the first 3 to 4 weeks with his injury. So Colton McKivitz will back up, the guard spots, and then I think you call up Travis Benjamin and he'll punt return. Now, before we jump into the defense, baby, man, I got to talk about this. I'm so pumped. The Philly 49ers Rush road trip. All the details are cemented. Emailed out everybody that's already bought tickets, just the entire agenda, with the hotel, when the party is, where the tailgate is, all that stuff. If you're going to be anywhere near Philly, you got to come party with us. So excited, guys. We have worked so hard for this, and all the details are finally finished and coming together. The 49ers Rush road trip for our Philly game, which is going to be week 2. So that's Saturday, September 18th, the night before the game. We are going to be meeting up at the Drinkers Pub, which I freaking love it. I mean, if you've ever been to Philly, or again, shout out to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the pub is the heart of Philadelphia. It's just what it is. So we have, this place is awesome. I've been there before. It's only a few short blocks away from our hotel. We're staying at the awesome Warwick Hotel in Rittenhouse Square. Come join us. We have the second floor all to ourselves. We've got pool tables. We got multiple TVs for college football on. We've got giveaways, raffles. We have our own bar service and food service. It's going to be an absolute blast. Hang out, drink, but more importantly, come for the community. It's going to be 49ers fans flying in from all over the place, from 6:30 to 9:30. If you want to go party out afterwards, that's cool. But again, we're going to be hanging out there for a long time. So head over to 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Click on Philly. This is week 2, okay? And buy your tickets there. They're $25, and everything that we bring in through the website, it's going back to giveaways. I've bought multiple jerseys, giveaways, autographed memorabilia. So whenever you come in, you're going to get raffle tickets, all those things. We're going to be doing trivia, lots of stuff, lots of ways just to have a blast with people that you want to hang out with. So head over there. Again, this is the Drinkers Pub Saturday, and we're staying at the Warwick Hotel. By the way, we still have discount rate available for hotels at the Warwick Hotel in Rittenhouse Square. It's one of the best historic hotels in Philly, and you get to save about $50 a night if you go over there and book it. So if you haven't got tickets yet, you need to get over there. 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Again, this is for week 2. Let's go, baby. Have some fun with us. I love it. And just one quick update to that. The link on 49ersrushroadtrip.com, if you go there, the link for the hotel doesn't work anymore because the way hotels work is once you get within a couple weeks, they take down the promotional links. But I negotiated, if you still want to stay there and get a discount hotel, you just got to call. So call the Warwick Hotel, which again, the link's on there, and just tell them you're at the 49ers Rush party, and they'll be able to help you out. That's there. And again, all these jerseys, I want to say thank you to Pristine Auction. If you want to participate in Pristine Auction, man, go there, use promo code RUSH, R-U-S-H, saves you $10 on something and helps the podcast so we can do more of these. We're giving away a lot of stuff. I spent way too much money on this trip. I got to learn how to do a trip and do like all these promotional things where I make money. I'm like the worst business person ever, but everything for me is just about people having fun, building the community. That's what I want to do, and that's what it's all about. And I do want to say shout out to Chuck B. If you guys have ever watched our draft content, or if you were with me way back when I was on the NFL Express, at host Chuck B, he's going to be in Chicago and Philly. He's going to be partying with us, which is going to be awesome. So he's a lot more fun than I am. I'll say that. Definitely more responsible. So he'll be keeping an eye on me, making sure I don't get too crazy. Now let's go to the defensive side, because these, if I was asked, okay, where is more talent on this team? Hands down, it's the defense. And then if you want to extend that to the practice squad, it's so true there as well, because you have Alex Barrett and Darion Daniels, who have been, I swear, man, they've been on this practice squad for a minute, and they just get better and better and better. And they're putting so much good tape out there that eventually they're going to get claimed. But for some reason, NFL teams are missing out on this, and I'm so thankful because these guys are incredible. Alex Barrett and Darion Daniels, man, they're good. I cannot believe they're still there. Elijah Sullivan. Now, the linebackers, Jonas Griffith, who I love, got traded. So that was there. And then the other linebacker got claimed by the Giants. Giants claim our linebackers every year. 49ers had the most players claimed, by the way, off of guys that they waived. They had the most players claimed of any team in the NFL, and it wasn't tied. They by themselves were there. So understand that doesn't even count Josh Rosen. Like, we 100%, just by that standard alone, shows the depth of the roster. We wish you could have pulled off a couple trades so that wouldn't happen, but it's what it is. So we kept Alex Barrett, Darion Daniels on the D-line. We kept Elijah Sullivan, the last remaining linebacker, and Jared Maiden, man, who, wow, incredible play this preseason. We offered Clinton Dix, but he didn't want to join on the practice squad. He wants a roster spot, so he's going to wait for an injury and hope he gets called up. And I'll be honest, he played incredible. So, he's definitely got that. And a lot of that, too, is the 49ers dominated the preseason. how much stock do you put into that? But he put on some good tape, and so I like that. Look at this. I'm nobody you need to know. Thank you for the gift, my friend. He said the 49ers are 9-1 versus the Lions since 1998. Week 1 makes us 10-1. Yeah, that's pretty bad, man. But the Lions have been bad for a long time. And now they're quarterbacks in our division. I get that. But it's just, I don't know, man. The Lions are bad franchises are bad for a reason. It usually starts at the top, and it stays that way. Now, some late additions. So those are the names of the practice squad that we know. They've been with us. But we added 4 new guys, which is interesting because it used to be a 12-team practice. First, it was 10 players on the practice squad, then 12, then it was 16 after COVID. So we brought in 4 players that we don't know, we haven't seen. And so I want to talk a little bit about each one of them. Linebacker Rashad Smith. Played with the Z's in college at Florida Atlantic. He's an undersized speed cover guy, not overly. He's not a big dude, and a special team stud. I think that's going to kind of be his role because Elijah Sullivan's going to get practice reps at all 3 linebacker spots, which we're pretty short at Mike currently. We're really, really short at Mike. If for some reason Fred Warner missed snaps, which he never does, I think Dre Greenlaw would take over the Mike role. Again, this is just my own personal opinion. And then you would, replace on the outside with Elijah Sullivan. But Rashad Smith, he's another guy that would be an outside backer, kind of special teams guy. We also brought in a corner, D. Virgin, nickel corner guy and a special teamer, smaller, undersized, under 200 pounds. Just, again, more, that spot's going to rotate. And what I mean by that is this. They did this a couple years ago. That Kyle Shanahan likes to protect his practice squad. But at the quarterback position, man, they're rotating that, trying to figure out who can, do what they want. But again, another small guy. The transitions, it's complete. We don't have big corners. We don't. Dante Johnson's the biggest corner we got. Everybody else is like 5'10" to 6, just over 6 foot. There is no Richard Sherman 6'3", 6'4" corners, 6'2" corners anymore. The Niners have moved past that. They're not doing that anymore. Wide receiver Isaiah Zuber, and I think this one's probably the most interesting to me because he's a small slot guy. We don't have a lot of small slot guys. But also, he led the Big 12 in punt return average all the way back in 2018. He was at K-State, transferred to Mississippi State, had some injuries, whatever else. But this is a specific, can this guy return punts in a pinch? And again, you only get to call players up from the practice squad for 2 games. So, again, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think a wide receiver is going to be rotating those practice, being called up just as a punt returner or emergency punt returner. So maybe if Isaiah Zuber can prove that, after River Craycraft gets his 2 cracks at it, after Travis Benjamin, that might be something that's there. It's just a backup option. And tight end, Tanner Hudson. He is a receiving tight end, not a blocker, that went off in the preseason. He had 11 receptions on 13 targets for Tampa Bay. They're kind of stocked at the tight end position. They got 3 pretty good studs there. Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, of course, the Gronk himself. So, that's there. That's going to round out our practice squad. It's 16 very, very capable players. Now, of course, the 4 haven't watched film on, did a little bit of research, but we'll have to wait and see. And if any of these guys get called up, we don't know about that until literally the day of. So we'll have to see or I think it's 2 days before now. Yeah, but we'll find out about that as it keeps going. Now, before we jump to our next part, I want to get to some questions. And again, if you guys have questions, tag me at John Chapman in the chat so I can see it. And let's get through some questions. But before we do, man, if you're hungry and you want to lose weight, I got something for you. Guys, I'm here with you today, EveryPlate.com. This is incredible. You want to eat healthy? You want to save money? This is the spot to do it in. I love this thing. Here's the deal. We get the box of meals sent to us. You've got like 14 plus recipes to choose from. They're all delicious. You get a box. It's completely contactless. You don't have to go to the store. You don't have to do anything. They send you everything you need. Recipes and directions included. And everything cooks in less than 30 minutes. And you're like, all right, yeah, I've heard these things before. It's always too expensive. Well, guess what? This gives you fuller wallets. This is America's best value meal kit, and it's not even close. It's $1.99 per meal. Did you hear that? And that's going to be the code to get this awesome offer. EveryPlate.com. Use promo code 49ers199. 49ers199 because it's only $1.99. So get started over there. And here's the deal. Once you sign up and you get your meals for $1.99 per meal, it's stupid how cheap this is. You get an additional, that's right, extra 20% off your next 2 boxes by going to everyplate.com and again using the promo code 49ers199. And you know, I'll throw this out there too. My oldest son, he's 17, football player, trying to gain weight. I'm trying to lose weight. This helps both of us achieve our goals, and it tastes delicious. He's able to, I don't cook. I got 2 full-time jobs. I don't have time for that. My son, my high school son, is able to go through this, follow it with ease. It's not stressful for him. Food is delicious. It's absolutely incredible. So you want to support the show. This is the best way. Get healthy, lose weight, and save money at the same time. Head over to everyplate.com. Use promo code 49ers199. Want to say thank you to our sponsors. Head over there. Come on. It's an insane deal. Let's go. All right, here we go. Back to some questions. I want to say thank you for the gift, Charlie. This is a fun one. Was Mike Singletary a decent coach in your opinion? No. I think that he was a good position coach. I would not want him as a DC. And I think this is a little bit more of a personality thing. And you can go kind of like the Norv Turner approach, right? Like you can be an amazing coach or an amazing player and not be a great head coach. They're different things because when you're a head coach, Chip Kelly, he falls in this category as well. I think Mike Singletary is better than Chip Kelly. But if you look at the success that, you know, Chip Kelly might have at UCLA or that he did have at Oregon, you can do that in the college and high school ranks. I know a lot of POS, horrible human beings that are great football coaches whenever you look at the win-loss record. Because that kind of megalomaniac, crazy person mentality, it kind of works in a system that's kind of closed shop and, you know, kids can't leave schools and colleges and all that stuff. Like, you're stuck. When you commit to a school, you're stuck. Now, the transfer portal's trying to help with that, but you got to graduate college before you can do that. So, like, they got you for 3 years. And you can have success at that. When you're in the NFL, these are grown men making millions of dollars that have been there. Or some of them are older than you. It doesn't work that way. Now, the one thing that I can credit Singletary with, and again, if you want to go back and listen, right before OTAs and stuff started, we did best and worst coaches of all time for the 49ers, and that was a blast. I really enjoyed it. I think it was the lowest watched and downloaded show I've ever done, but it might be my favorite show I've ever done. But if you haven't, just look it up or scroll down, whatever. Best and worst coaches, front office, all time for the 49ers. Mike Singletary is pretty low down there. Now, he helped, you know, revive Vernon Davis, you know, was a position coach for Patrick Willis and Bowman. I get those things, but he was an embarrassment. I think that the product that he put out there on the field, it became more about him than it was the team or the uniform eventually. And so that's an issue for me. But if you just wanted him as an extra defensive guy, then I would hire him right now. Like, you want to, you know, just an assistant whatever or a linebacker coach, yes, then he would excel at that. But no, I'm not putting him anywhere near good or decent coach. I don't think that it goes there. He's got some good sound bites. I'll give him that. Rolls Royce, he says, John, are we sleeping on Hurd? I think we are. You know, the front office has shown Jalen Hurd that they're going to stay by him. He's getting the Dante Pettis treatment. He hasn't shown anything, right? He hasn't shown anything. He made through one preseason game in 2 years. But you invested that third-round pick, and, you know, the NFL's a meritocracy for the predominantly most part. However, some people get second, third, fourth chances, and other people never get a second chance. And a lot of that has to do with perceived value or capital, draft capital that's invested in. It's a sunken cost theory, right? If Juwan Jennings went through the exact same thing as Jalen Hurd, Juwan Jennings wouldn't be on this team. But because he's a seventh rounder, he got one chance and he, you know, took advantage after that. We'll see what happens. Hurd gets 2 chances, right? That's the idea. You look at guys like Matt Breida. Matt Breida had, I think he fumbled 3 times and like 9 carries, and he was done. Kyle Shanahan refused to give him the ball. You remember when Matt Breida went in to spell Raheem Mostert in the NFC Championship game, I think, and Kyle Shanahan got pissed off and called a timeout even though we were up by like 20 points. Like, that dude doesn't touch the ball for my team ever again. Like, we knew it, and then we traded him, which was awesome. But, like, it's different. So, are we sleeping on Hurd? Yeah, I think we are, because what he showed us in that one game versus the Raiders, explosiveness was not there. 2 bad drops, that was Hurd. That hurt. But we know what he can do. But once you get to this stage with a player that's had this type of, injuries and stuff, it's, hey, until you show me, I don't care. Like, you have to show us. There is no like, oh, well, whatever, we'll see, maybe he can't. No. Until you show us. It's kind of like that with D Ford too and his injury. We've seen it from D Ford before, but those back-to-back years of injuries, I'm going to believe it when I see it. You got to show me. I'm excited, and I think that he can, but you got to show us. I hope Hurd is amazing, because the wide receiver is probably the biggest weakness on this team currently whenever you look at depth. I know Debo and Ayuk are amazing. You can throw Kittle in there as well, but, man, Mohamed Sanu, that's our number 3. Trent Sherfield, that's our number 4. Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, it's not a lot there. It's really there. Tommy says, is Campbell even an upgrade at coach over Matt Patricia? I think he is. I've been, Adam Gase and Matt Patricia were the lowest of the low, and everybody in the NFL knew it, and they just stuck with it for an extra year because they thought maybe he'd turn it around. When they hired Dan Campbell, I was just like, oh my God, they had Robert Saleh in their building. He's from freaking Michigan. The state senators were trying, like, they could have got Saleh, but I don't know. They were negotiating on years and all that stuff, and they lost him. And to wind up with Dan Campbell, you can watch a press conference and just be like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Like, this is, the 2 coaches that stick out this year, that it's the Eagles coach, Sirianni, and it's Dan Campbell. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm a grown man, and I see these guys at their press conference, and I'm just like, yikes. That is, whatever it is, they don't have it. So I don't understand how these guys came across in an interview, and the owners were like, yep, this is what we want over Robert Saleh. I just don't understand it. Now, I could be wrong. But the fact that the roster he has, now I will say the draft trades that they have made, I'm all for. Shipping away Stafford, just getting so many future draft picks and just, rebuilding that. I like that. I just don't think he's a good coach. But we'll have to see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. There's lots of really good coaches out there that you could hire, and they just keep. Bad teams are bad for a reason. And that's what I'll say. From Rolls Royce, do the Niners have the best running back in the NFL? I don't think so. No, not even close. I love Raheem Mostert. But the fact that, he went through what he did in 7 teams and all that kind of stuff, no. I love the 49ers running back room, though. Golly, it hurts that we lost Wayne Gallman, but, man, back to front to back, it's solid. Raheem Mostert and Trey Sermon, they're going to kind of switch out together. That's 1A, 1B. You'll mix in a little bit of, JaMychal Hasty and Elijah Mitchell, but then you got Juszczyk as well. And once we get to like week 7 or 8, guess what? Jeff Wilson's back, and I think he's the 3rd best running back, maybe 2nd best running back on this team as soon as he steps up. Charlie, remember when our leading receiver was Jeremy Curley? Yeah. Again, I started this episode, and I remember it was, you have to understand where we've been, to understand where we are, to understand where we're going. It's perspective. Jeremy Curley was the best wide receiver on this team. He got cut the next year, didn't get picked up. He led our team in receiving. He ran good routes, had good hands, but no. Just no. Now you look at, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, it's a better roster. And that gets me excited. Real quick, this is a question from Brian from Patreon. He says, got a question for the show. Thanks for your support, by the way, Brian. What are your feelings about whether Roger Craig and Tom Rathman deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? My vote is yes, but wanted your thoughts. Remember, Craig was the first player ever to go 1,000 for 1,000. Yeah. Falk did it later. He was in the Hall of Fame. I get that. There is no argument in the absolute world where Roger Craig does not belong in the NFL Hall of Fame. 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champ. He's on the all-decade 1980s team. He was the 1988 AP Offensive Player of the Year. He led the NFL in receptions in 1985. Led the entire NFL. And whenever you look at, I don't have this in front of me. I have a list of all these famous wide receivers that he has more catches up than. It's guys like Drew Pearson who just got in this year. Now, and whenever I say these things like Drew Pearson or Marshall Faulk, I'm not saying he deserves it in their place. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to take anything away from Marshall Faulk. I'm not trying to take anything away from Drew Pearson. I'm saying he belongs with, not instead of. There is no reason why this guy is not in the Hall of Fame. It's an absolute sham. And usually what happens is the sports writers decide, well, that dynasty got enough guys in. We're not going to put any more in. That's stupid. That's dumb. There's teachers that I work with that do that. Well, I only give out 5 A's per class because I want to get this bell curve. Man, shut the hell up. You're not in it for the kids. That's not why you're here. You're here for your own whatever reasons. You're not thinking about the individuals. Tell me Roger Craig's not a freaking Hall of Famer. Super Bowls, check. Best at his position, check. Longevity, check. Records, check. Prestige. You can, if I tell you to close your eyes and picture Roger Craig playing football, you see both hands on the ball, those knees churning above his waist. It's iconic. It's iconic. And he played I was born in 1982. His first year was 1983. But it's still he led the NFL in yards per scrimmage one year. He had a 2,000 yard year. What the? Oh man, you got to get me all. You get me mad, people. You get me mad. Now, Tom Rathman's a different story, okay? And I love Tom Rathman, man. I was a fullback. My number, I played with 44 for 2 years in high school. I love Tom Rathman. However, whenever you start looking at, statistical things or longevity or any of those things, it doesn't really work as well because he missed a lot of games. He didn't miss a lot of games, but he didn't play very long, right? So he had 8 years with the 49ers, 1 year with the Raiders. But that's the thing. If you're going to have a short career, you've got to be somebody like Megatron, right? Or Patrick Willis, who's still getting freaking hosed. But he'll get in there eventually. There's no doubt Patrick Willis will get in there. It just might take some time. And so, the longevity's kind of an issue, and then the stats are a little bit of an issue. But, again, Tom Rathman, he had 73 catches one year as a fullback, which, good Lord, how is that even possible? I don't think that he deserves it. I wish that he would be in there. I'm just looking now. The Hall of Fame monitor for running backs and fullbacks this is according to Pro Football Reference, is 106. His Pro Football Hall of Fame monitor is 23. So I don't think that he's really even close. Now, that exact same barometer, you look at it, they have a 77.5 for Roger Craig. But that's rough for me. And again, that doesn't mean you're in. It's just that's the average number for running backs that did get in. So, yeah, Roger Craig, I think, eventually will get in. I don't think there's a doubt about that. Tom Rathman, I don't think that argument can be made. Even though I love him, I think a Ring of Honor for the 49ers, that's, a realistic option for sure. But I think that's kind of as far as you can kind of go there. Shot J, real quick, he says, if our defensive faces a hurry-up offense to keep us from using substitutions, who would you want our D-line for an all-purpose effectiveness type thing? So you need motor guys. And I think, if I was designing, if somebody said, look, you got to pick your 4 D linemen that are going to be out there for an 8-play stretch and no subs, okay? You started with your best. You're going Nick Bosa and you're going Samson. Those are my DNs. I'm putting Eric Armstead inside as my hybrid guy. And then I'd probably put Kevin Givens because I feel like his motor is probably the highest out of everybody. And again, I'm high on Kevin Givens. but Javon Kinlaw is just so damn big. You don't want one of those just massive, all muscle dudes. And I get Armstead's big, but those would probably be the 4 I'd put out there. Bosa, Sampson, not D Ford for sure. And then I'd kick in Armstead, and then I'd put Givens there. I think that'd probably be the best way to go. So, to Ron, he says this, John, you're not saying Roger Craig is on Marshall Faulk's level, are you? No, I'm not. Marshall Faulk, I think he kind of brought back the receiving kind of everything. Marshall Faulk was incredible. But I am saying that Roger Craig is Hall of Fame worthy. Do I think that those two players on the same level? I don't. But again, Roger Craig is for real. He was 1,000-yard running back, 30 years before Marshall Faulk. Like he was so far ahead of his time. Anyway, I'll leave it with that. So you guys are awesome. This has been a lot of fun. Now, next week, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to do our preseason bet special next episode, so look forward to that. I've got way too many. I'm not going to share all my bets on here. I will on Patreon, however. I post everything that I bet or put money on. I'll put that on Patreon. So if you're one of our bettors, again, my bookie, that's the place to go. Use promo code 49ers. That's the place to go. They got a free bet up right now. I'm just telling you. Use that promo code 49ers. We'll talk a little bit more about this next episode. But you guys are the absolute best. Love you guys. And as always, stay strong, faithful.